home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Well, I guess Kalen DeBoer didn't do quite enough swearing this weekend.
And I guess BV did more than enough, didn't he?
And we now know that the Brent Venables black hoodie effect is more powerful than the Kalen DeBoer black hoodie effect. It's a trend we've been tracking leading into this game. Apparently, Kalen DeBoer, when wearing a black hoodie, is 16-0, or I'm sorry, had been 16-0 as Alabama's head football coach. Brent Venables, when he wears a black hoodie to his Tuesday presser, had been 7-0 this season. Brent Venables wore the black hoodie last Tuesday. Kalen DeBoer wore his black hoodie this past Saturday. Something had to give. And when all was said and done at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Grayson Singleton, Oklahoma somehow, some way, clawed past the fourth-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, secured their second straight road upset, advanced to 8-2 on the season, officially seized control of their own destiny in the race for the college football playoff, and issued a statement to the rest of the country. And the statement wasn't even as emphatic as it could have been. The statement was more along the lines of, hey, we can beat some of the best teams in the nation when we play a B-, C+ type of game. Beware the day that we play an A- or an A+ type of game.
Yeah, no doubt. My first takeaway, though, is this is the first win this year. You've got 7 of them now, or 8 of them now, excuse me. You have 8 of them now. This is the first one that I ascribe solely to Brent Venables. And some of y'all saw that I tweeted out the salute to Brent Venables after the game because I just left the game so wholly impressed by him. And I remember after the Texas game, after that loss, my takeaway was when he goes up against the elite offensive minds, he usually gets outfoxed. It happened against Texas. It happened against Ole Miss this year. But he reversed that on Saturday afternoon. He was completely one step ahead of Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb the entire game. And he was throwing stuff that you would never expect. I mean, you look at the final drive of the game. Alabama gets that first down, right? And what does he do on the first down? Not a third down. On the first down, he sends Kip Lewis. Nobody would have expected that, right? There was the one play where he sent Davon Jordan. On the Eli Bowen pick six, you have a confusing coverage. Brent Venables was in his bag in this game on Saturday afternoon, and I give him all the credit in the world. The conversation is over and done with about whether or not Brent Venables is your head coach going forward. He is your head coach. He proved he solidified that on Saturday, and now the question turns from can he coach us to the playoff? Can he coach us to give us a chance to now we have to ask the question, can you win a national championship with Brent Venables as your head coach? That's the question now.
You ever watch the movie Hoosiers?
Long time ago.
Okay. How much of it do you remember?
Some, but not a whole heck of a lot. Not going to lie to you.
It's a very quotable sports movie.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite lines from Hoosiers is Gene Hackman, the late, great Gene Hackman, playing Norman Dale, tells one of his players with regard to the matchup that he has out there on the court, think of your man, think of him as chewing gum.
Okay.
By the end of the game, I want to know what flavor he is. Did it kind of start – did you kind of get the sense that Brent Venables was trying to figure out Kalen DeBoer in the first half, just kind of trying to get a sense of what he needed to counteract what he needed to game plan against. And then in the second half, it was no holds barred. We know what we need to account for. We know the things we need to identify that we need to keep an eye out for. And it's time. It's time to flip the switch. Time to officially unleash all of the creativity that is part and parcel of Venables' scheme.
That last part, yes. I don't know if he was feeling him out necessarily in the first half, and you could be right about that. But I didn't get that sense. Now, I will say, I think he left some stuff in the vault for when they needed it the most. Sending Davon Jordan, there was no chance Alabama picked that up. Sending Kip Lewis when he did, there was no chance Alabama picked that up. Because especially with the all-out pressures, it went against conventional wisdom for when to send them, right? You normally don't send that on first down. So I do think he kept some stuff locked up for when they needed it the most. And by the way, you know what that's called? That's called situational coaching, which is something we have never spoken about positively as it pertains to Brent Venables. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff going on here. But, I mean, the player, Taylor Wine was awesome. Taylor Wine was outstanding. Devon Jordan showing up in big moments, great. Eli Bowen, hell of a pick six. The offense, well, we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to talk about that. But if there's one dude I had to give a smile for and say, man, I'm happy for you because you're a hell of a person and, you know, you're a great ambassador for Oklahoma. To me, it was Brent Venables, man.
Brad from Mustang is with me on the text line. He was denting. There you go, Brad. Good stuff. Brad knows. It's really kind of remarkable. And you're right. Brent Venables, in my mind, does deserve the majority of the credit for that victory against Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think that is his signature win, his new signature win as head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. But it really is wild just how much the narrative has shifted with regard to John Mateer over the course of the 2025 season. Because through the first 3-4 weeks, we were saying, this is why you paid big money for this guy in the transfer portal. Like, John Mateer's the guy that can carry you to new heights in the Brent Venables era. And now it's like, man, might John Mateer be the limiting factor for Oklahoma?
Yes. And I tell you what, Parker, I watched that Texas-Georgia game right after. You know what I thought?
What's that?
I'm going to see how many people agree with me on this. I think OU would be a better football team if Arch Manning was the quarterback.
Okay, well.
Oh, yeah.
You might have to take the rest of the afternoon off.
Nope.
You're about to get annihilated on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet.
I know. I'm well aware of that. But it underscores a point that you brought up in your post-game column on Sunday, is that right now you've got a low-ceiling offense, and the question now, it's kind of a 2012 type of question, Parker. Can you win a playoff game or two with a really good defense that is now coming up with timely big plays and a mediocre offense that some numbers might indicate is bad? Can you pull this off? Because I'm starting to believe that the answer might be yes up until a point. I'm starting to believe that given the right matchup, if your offense just doesn't screw it up, you might be able to win a playoff game with this.
Oklahoma's scoring drives on Saturday. Of course, you had the Eli Bowen pick six. So Oklahoma had 4 offensive scoring drives, resulting in 1 touchdown, 3 field goals. Those drives covered 23 yards, 31 yards, 41 yards, and 22 yards, respectively. Oklahoma's defense and their special teams as well. Those 2 units are playing incredible football.
Yes, they are.
Right now.
Yes.
In #RedNovember. And they have created advantageous circumstances for Oklahoma's offense.
Bingo.
But we got to see more from this unit. We got to see, because after the Ole Miss game 3 weeks ago, there were plenty on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line questioning whether Brent Venables was the man for the job, whether Oklahoma was going to win a single game the rest of the way. The season was at a crossroads. It wasn't exactly clear where this all was headed. And in the span of just 2 football games, it feels like everything has changed. I feel like you're fighting for not only a college football playoff berth, but you feel like this team, with how wide open college football is in 2025, you feel like this team can go play for a championship.
Potentially.
By season's end. But it is entirely contingent upon John Mateer returning to form and this offense becoming more efficient and more effective situationally. Because honestly, Grayson, it's not even about piecing together long drives. When I look at the opportunities that Oklahoma had in the red zone against Alabama this past weekend, a couple occasions, once in the first quarter, once in the fourth quarter, where they drive inside the Bama 10-yard line and only get a field goal out of it. Those are the types of things, man. Those are the types of moments that can be the razor's edge between victory and defeat.
Correct.
It didn't cost Oklahoma on Saturday, but we have to see those types of things cleaned up if Oklahoma is going to seriously contend for a national championship. At this point, it would be a colossal disappointment if they're not in the college football playoff field. They will be favored against Missouri.
Yes.
They will be favored against LSU. If they win those 2 games, not only are they in the college football playoff, but they're likely hosting a playoff game the week before Christmas. And that's great. That's awesome. But is getting there enough? Once you get there, is that going to satisfy this fan base? You'd like to think so, but I think we all know the answer. I think if Oklahoma gets to the college football playoff field and winds up getting bounced in the first or second round, yes, on the whole, you will be pleased with the overall arc of the season. But the average fan, the average Oklahoma football fan, will not be able to help but wonder for years to come how much higher this team could have flown, given the way they were playing on defense and special teams, if their quarterback had just been able to recapture the form that he was showing prior to the thumb surgery.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. And right now, you won that game because the offense didn't mess it up, because they didn't commit a turnover. So you didn't do that. You didn't fumble. You didn't throw an ill-timed interception. But think about how much had to go right. They had to get the Jaden Hardy forced fumble on Ryan Williams on the punt return. They had to get the Eli Bowen pick 6. Like, you look in retrospect, and those things had to happen. The offense only had 1 sustained drive.
Yep.
The entire game, and it ended up in a field goal. So, no, that is a problem. By the way, more people on the or on the text line are in agreement with me on the Arch Manning take.
Really?
Yes, they are. Chris from Knoxville, I'm with you. You know what? I agree with you, Grayson. With decent protection, Arch can pick you apart. Meanwhile, Mateer will figure out how to get happy feet in a clean pocket. And that's the thing with Mateer, man. And I do want to get back to the defense and to Brent Venables, because that's the main storyline today. But his indecision is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling to me. His indecision with his feet, when to throw the ball, when to run. It's very, very curious as to what's going on with him. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't make the catastrophic play. And you're 8-2, and we're sitting here 8-2 today. And that's really all that matters.
And that is all that has mattered the last couple of games for Oklahoma. And the interception late in the game against Tennessee was almost catastrophic, but it didn't cost Oklahoma. John Mateer is just, the way I put it, he's just kind of there, man.
Yeah.
He has 4 total touchdowns in his last 5 starts. He only has 1 turnover since the Texas fiasco. So it's not as if he is jeopardizing Oklahoma's chances to win football games, but nor is he measurably increasing them either. Now, Sooner Behind Enemy Lines on the text line says, this can't be real. 2-0 in Red November, and y'all are debating replacing our field general? No, there's no debate to be had. Listen,
no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, look, John Mateer's your guy. You're riding or dying with John Mateer. But what it comes down to is that for this team, if they're going to go where they're capable of going, they need more from John Mateer.
100%. Like, I mean, this is good enough to get to the playoffs. You have proven that so far, especially if you avoid a pitfall, which the most likely pitfall right now is Missouri, because I think that Missouri's game is going to be tighter than a lot of people want to believe it will be, even though I think Oklahoma will and should win it. But that's going to be good enough to get you past Missouri and past LSU. If you get in an 8-9 matchup with Notre Dame, will that be good enough? We don't know. If you get in a rematch with Alabama, which is very on the table, will it be enough? I don't know. If you get in a game with Georgia, I can guarantee you that won't be enough. So you're going to need more from the offense, but the defense is going to be good enough, especially if the defense is scoring points, that they'll be able to get you to where the offense has to be in a situation where they just don't need to mess it up.
Your feedback is flying in on the text line, and so no doubt this conversation will roll over into next segment. But I want to wrap up with one more phenomenal text from Brad from Mustang, who says, let's not kid ourselves. Every national champion requires a certain element of luck. And luck has been on Oklahoma's side.
Yeah.
Now, they've made chances for themselves, no doubt, but they've certainly had the benefit of some good fortune. On the road to 8-2, the road to number 8 in the country, the road to a 2-game homestand from a berth in the college football playoff.
And can I say this last thing about creating those fortunate opportunities? That was something Brent pointed out in his presser. He said, we forced the turnover. And they did. They forced the turnovers. They didn't come by luck.
Nope.
So you got to give it up to them for that.
Great play by Jayden Hardy, though. That's the turnover that, obviously Eli Bowen and his pick six is the highlight of that football game. I think even just in an overall sense, that's maybe the highlight of the game for Oklahoma. But Jayden Hardy with the peanut punch from behind on Ryan Williams on that punt return that set up John Mateer's touchdown run. That's an effort play, man. And that was a culture win on Saturday. That was a culture win. There's no other way to put it. When you don't have your best stuff and you can still go on the road and take down a top 5 team in the country that had won their last 17 games on their home turf, that screams culture. You owe that to culture. 405-651-3439 is the text line. Much more ahead as we get rolling here on a Monday. This is Locked In on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
This is Sooner linebacker Kobe McKenzie, and you're listening to The Ref, home of the Sooner fans.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
They don't want to hire you because your paper might say Oklahoma School for the Blind.
I was just completely homebound because I was always too afraid to go outside. I want to be a productive member of society, and that's what DRS has given me.
They offer you opportunities to getting a job, helping you learn how to advocate for yourself, find the best way to try living your life in the fullest way possible.
Oklahoma and DRS has been the biggest blessing in my life.
See me.
And not my disability.
Norman mornings start at Neighborhood Jam. Whether you're craving sweet or savory, classic pancakes or chorizo burritos, we've got breakfast covered. Open 6:30 to 2:30 daily. Join the wait list on Yelp before you arrive.
Neighborhood Jam on Main Street in Norman. Brunch that brings good vibes every time. Start your day with the Jam, your local breakfast destination. Tune in every Friday to hear more about the House Smith Restaurant Group during the Rush and the Dari Noka Show here on The Ref.
Entrepreneurs and More Norman in South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. More Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, More Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about More Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
Hey, it's Dari Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch at Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army. Just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland & Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
When it comes to buying a home, you need a winning game plan. At Stride Bank, our mortgage team helps you get from kickoff to closing with competitive rates, local expertise, and personalized service. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, we'll be right there on the field with you. Learn more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Stride Bank on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Three-star out of high school. Redshirted. Special teams guy his redshirt freshman year.
Talk to me.
Didn't start a game until his redshirt sophomore year. Lives in the building. Coachable. Honor roll student. Loves football. Loves the team. Committed to effort and physicality. I'm just reading a tweet from Miguel Chavis here. That tweet was in reference to your SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week for Week 12 of the college football season, none other than Taylor Wine, who has played unbelievable football this year for the Sooners. Grayson.
He is good, man. Like, I remember back in the late summer and into the early fall, the early portions of fall camp, you were talking about how, hey, Taylor Wine's coming on. Taylor Wine's going to be a player. He's going to be in the rotation. The hell is this? I mean, he is awesome.
Even I did not expect this. I don't know that even Miguel Chavis or Brent Venables would truthfully say that they expected this from Taylor Wine. There is a strong case that he has been Oklahoma's most impactful overall defender this season. And there are many candidates, to be clear. It's not a runaway case by any means. But Taylor Wine has 4.5 sacks on the year.
That's it.
He leads Oklahoma with 12 tackles for loss. He forced a fumble Saturday, a very crucial one. He picked off a pass against South Carolina. Maybe the most athletic and consequential play of the entire football game was the blocked field goal at the end of the first half. Taylor Wine does everything right on the football field.
He's good, man.
Taylor Wine does not get exposed. There has not been an instance this year that I can recall, Grayson, where it's like, oh, Taylor Wine whiffed on that play. Or, boy, what was Taylor Wine doing there? Chris from Knoxville on the text line says, thank goodness that no-name guy flipped to Texas so we could discover and get Wine. Once again, as Chris reminds you all there, had Colton Vasek not flipped to Texas in November of 2022, Oklahoma would never have had a reason to go and recruit Taylor Wine out of Nolensville, Tennessee. Sooner in Springtown says, the unsung hero was David Stone. I enjoyed watching him go to war against their offensive linemen. Marvin Jones had a nice game. That's hardly been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Jones had a nice game defensively for Oklahoma. Obviously, Kip Lewis, who was dealing with cramps down the stretch, came up huge.
I thought he was phenomenal.
And Cortland Guillory, man. Cortland Guillory's going to be a really good cornerback in this league. He's going to be a really good cornerback in this league.
Cortland Guillory, barring injury, will not have a senior year at Oklahoma.
That is exactly what everyone to a man in that building was saying about Cortland Guillory in August. They said he will not be here 3 years from now.
No, he will be in the league 3 years from now. There's no way he has a senior year here.
Brad from Mustang on the text line says, with the Vosick situation, BV turned water into wine. Well done.
Well done.
Well done. Very nice. Blue of Green Country says, Herbie needs to call the same lady at Taylor Wines High School that Steelman and Thune called when his recruitment heated up to get the correct pronunciation of his last name. 3 middle fingers to Herbie. Did Kirk Herbstreit mispronounce Taylor Wines' name?
Well, Kirk Herbstreit wasn't on the call. No, yes, he does. The last time
the Tennessee game?
Yeah, the Tennessee game. He does keep calling him Taylor Ween.
Or Ween?
Yeah, Ween.
What was funny was we were, I can't tell you why we were doing this. Driving back to Birmingham after the OU-Alabama game, we were watching local TV news coverage of the OU, like local TV recaps of the OU-Alabama game, and all of the local sports anchors were calling him Taylor Wynn.
Okay.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Why I can understand, like, it's either Wine or Wayne. How do you look at his last name and go Win?
Yeah, Win is interesting.
Taylor Wine, man. That dude's going to be in the all-SEC conversation.
As he
at
should
season's
be.
end.
Hey,
he's done enough.
I saw the Hayes Fawcett tweet saying Oklahoma recruiting going up.
Yes.
What's been the fallout?
I don't think Hayes was referencing anything specific with that tweet.
Okay.
Just more so that, hey, I mean, you go to Neyland Stadium and win, and then you go to Bryant-Denny Stadium and win, and you soar into the national top 10, and you're one of the sexy teams nationally that's getting talked about on all the national sports shows. And you're right there in the thick of it in the mix to host a playoff game in mid-December. Recruits are going to take notice. And they did, and they have. I'll tell you, though, the majority of the conversations that the Oklahoma staff was having in the immediate aftermath of that win over Alabama on Saturday, they were conversations with their commits. Not guys that are still out there on the open market. No, first guys they went and ran to touch base with in the aftermath of the win, they were the commits. Some people won't like to hear that, but I think that's the way it has to be.
I think that's absolutely the right move.
And make sure your guys that are going to be in that building next year, beyond a shadow of a doubt, concretely, know that as soon as you walk off the field at a place like Bryant-Denny Stadium, you're thinking about them. You're thinking about how exciting it's going to be next year to go through the fire in this league alongside them.
Amen.
So I don't know, like, I don't question that there's going to be positive ramifications for Oklahoma on the recruiting trail after a win like this. I don't know whether it's reasonable to expect like 4 or 5 commits this week because you went and won in Tuscaloosa. So I think the tweet from Hayes, it got folks riled up as it was always going to do, as it was intended to do, right? But I don't know that anybody should be waiting with bated breath, waiting for their phone to buzz in the event that Oklahoma's going to pick up a new commit. Now, as we've come to learn with this staff, man, they can capitalize on momentum very quickly and very decisively. Think about the Jackson Stokes recruitment, right? They have him in town for Ole Miss. Oklahoma plays a hard-fought game but loses. Then he's in Knoxville the following week. Sees Oklahoma win on the road in Neyland Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
He was targeting a December-January decision. 6 days later, he's committed to the Oklahoma Sooners. So, it's not out of the question that Oklahoma could pick up some serious steam here in the days ahead with a couple of guys that are duly impressed with the back-to-back road victories for Oklahoma. But I do think if we're just looking at the impact of a win like that, it's mostly going to be an impact that isn't really measurable because all of the guys that are hearing the most from the staff in the immediate aftermath are the guys that are already committed. But even that can produce some good news, as we saw earlier today. 4-star Oklahoma wide receiver commit Brayden Allen picked up an offer from his childhood dream school, LSU, over the weekend. Was down in Baton Rouge, down in Tiger Stadium to watch the game. Got an offer from interim head coach Frank Wilson, and I'm sure many Oklahoma fans figured, okay, he's gone. He's a Louisiana kid, a boot boy. He's got an offer from the purple and gold. He's going to stay home. He's going to be an LSU Tiger. Brayden Allen announced just hours ago he's shutting down his recruitment. He is 100% locked in with the University of Oklahoma.
That's awesome. I mean, and I think that underscores my thought of this. When you win a big game like that, and Oklahoma now has 21 recruits in the class. Do I have that number right, Parker?
21. Yes, you are correct.
When you win a game like that, you should be more focused on making sure the people who are already part of the family are going to stay part of the family. Because at some point, you're going to keep trying to add and add and add, and then you might tick off somebody else, right? So just at some point, you just got to focus on what you've got in tow. And we're going to enjoy our success with the people who are already here, and we're going to use U21 as the foundation for what's next to come. And I think that's the right move and the right way to look at it. On the YouTube chat, by the way, this might be the highest number of live viewers on the YouTube that I have seen on this show. So shout out to all of you. On the YouTube chat, going back to the Taylor Wine pronunciation, AJ Himes says, country folks talk like that, Parker. Not everyone is college educated.
Fair enough. 405-651-3439 is the text line if you want to chime in, or hit us up on the YouTube chat. Always a great way to tap in with us and see our lovely faces in addition to hearing our voices. But as we look at Oklahoma's wide receiver room in the 2026 class, Brayden Allen, his recruitment is now shut down. He's all the way locked in with Oklahoma. Jasir Rogers, the 4-star OU commit from the state of Delaware, has shut down his recruitment, as has Oklahoma's lone in-state commit, 3-star Xavier Okafuleze, as has their OG commit in the 2026 cycle.
Daniel Odom.
At the position. Daniel Odom from the state of California. So you have 4 guys that are absolutely positively signing with Oklahoma next month. There is only one target that remains. And that, of course, is 4-star Wisconsin commit, Jayden Petit.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about Jayden Petit over the last several weeks, and with good reason. He is an alien. 6'4", 220 pounds. You hear those measurables, you're thinking, okay, tight end, right? Wide receiver at the high school level, going to project a tight end at the next level. Then you turn on the tape, and it becomes very clear. No, this is not a tight end. This is a playmaking wide receiver that could be among the best in the country if utilized and developed properly at a place like Oklahoma. And yet he is still committed, as of right now today, November 17th, 2025, to the University of Wisconsin. And patience is wearing thin with this whole process. I've mentioned this before, but it's every bit as true. It's every bit as true now as it was last week and the week before that. We're barely 2 weeks out from signing day, Grayson. And the feeling from the Oklahoma end is very much along the lines of, hey, like, if you want to go to Wisconsin and catch 2 passes a game, okay, whatever. There's a sense of indifference right now. And maybe indifference is the wrong word. They really want Jayden Petit. But there are a lot of folks in that building that are quickly growing more and more frustrated with how long this is dragging. This is dragging out and has already dragged out. Now, I think it's very, very clear. He's either going to sign with Wisconsin or flip to Oklahoma. Those are the only two viable outcomes.
So Missouri's out of the picture here.
Not out of the picture. They're pushing, as is Washington. But he's only visited one other school this fall, and that is the University of Oklahoma. He was on campus for the Ole Miss game on October 26th. He's been to Wisconsin. He's been to Oklahoma. It's becoming quite clear those are the two schools that he is serious about, and he has a final decision to make between those two schools, in all likelihood. But, man, I don't even know what to say about that whole process at this point because it's just been a waiting game for the longest time now, and we just keep waiting and waiting and waiting for some resolution, and the conversations continue to happen between Petite and the Oklahoma staff, and they continue to make it very, very clear to him that you have a place here, we will feed you the ball here, you will make a difference here in the SEC. And yet he still stays committed to Wisconsin. How much longer can and will this go on?
You know, I love it when you get into that point where you're just like, I just whatever.
And it's crazy because he's such a good player,
no,
dude.
He really is. But this is the third time in this cycle that you have gotten to this point with a recruitment. You got to that point with the KJ Ford recruitment and the Davian Gross recruitment.
Well, it just gets to a point, you're like, man, I'm glad I'm not Emmett Jones.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't have to have these same conversations with the kid week after week after week with no tangible progress towards a flip. Like, what is there left to tell a guy like Jayden Petit? How many times can you make the same pitch? How many times can you have the same conversation? How many times does he have to turn the TV on a Saturday afternoon and see Wisconsin's offense producing absolutely nothing through the air? Nothing whatsoever.
Hey, maybe he has a savior mentality.
Maybe, man, but
shoot,
in order for you to catch the ball, somebody's got to throw it to you.
There's that, too, and they also have to call passing plays. A texter in the 405 says, what's the buzz on the Illinois kid? Was it Eberhard? Yes, Jacob Eberhard, safety.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens there. That's kind of, call that a heat check recruitment. That's one of the ones where, you're throwing up a 30-foot heave as we get closer and closer to signing day. And if it goes through the net, great. If not, okay, whatever. Oklahoma's got a good safety room right now. Robert Spears-Jennings will depart at season's end. Figure Michael Boganowski steps into his role in a full-time capacity next year. Nico Jandro is Oklahoma's lone commit right now at safety. They would love to have Jacob Eberhard in the fold. But we've talked about the family connections that he has to the University of Illinois, where he is currently committed. And I think it's unlikely that he backs off that pledge to the Illini. Not impossible. Not impossible by any means. Certainly a situation to watch, certainly a situation to monitor. But if you're asking me to bet money on an outcome, I would bet that Jacob Eberhard sticks with his commitment to Illinois till signing day. 405-651-3439. On the other side, it is time for 0 days since our last nonsense. This will be a fun one. Stay with us here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Get behind the wheel for less at Eskridge Honda. Take $1,250 off MSRP on a new 2025 Accord SE. That's right, $1,250 off on a new Honda Accord SE. Stop by today at our new location on 89th and I-35 or online at eskridgehonda.com. Available to customers with approved credit through Honda Financial Services. See dealer for details.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Matthew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Hey, it's Teddy Lehman here. Catch myself and Tyler McComas here on The Ref every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6 on The Rush. No one covers Sooner football like we do, and there's no better way to make sure you never miss a show than by listening in on the KREF app. We might even mention where you're listening from on the Ref Army Locator. If you don't have the app, you can take the home of Sooner fans anywhere you may roam on an iPhone or Android. Just search KREF in your app store to download the app and take the Ref with you everywhere.
Morning weather changes quickly. Road conditions change even faster.
Be prepared and stay on time with KOCO 5 News in the morning.
Real-time traffic updates and your first alert forecast to help you stay on time and get there safely.
Sky 5, the only news helicopter flying for you every weekday morning.
Bringing you instant looks at slowdowns and alternate routes. Oklahoma City's most accurate forecast, so you'll know what to wear and when to make a dash out the door.
Trust KOCO 5 News in the morning.
Hey, it's Dari Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch, and Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army, just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it making more money. Spend it making more memories. Spend it learning a new skill. Spend it teaching an old trick. Spend it career climbing. Spend it mountain climbing. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Business owners, it's that time of the year again. The clock is ticking on your Section 179 tax saving, and here at Seth Wadley Ram in Pauls Valley, we're here to make it count. Buy your new work truck, van, or fleet vehicle before December 31st, and you can write off the full purchase price on your 2025 taxes. That's right. Get your business needs now, and let Uncle Sam help pay for it. Whether you need a Ram heavy duty, crew cab, and chassis, or a fleet vehicle, we've got the inventory to keep your business moving forward. Just ask for me, Joseph Dombrowski, General Manager, and I will personally work with you. We have millions in inventory for you to choose from in all sizes and all trims. And you'll keep getting savings with Seth spending over $24 million and counting on a promise. Tell them, Seth.
That's my promise of oil changes and engines for life on new or used gas or diesel at no additional cost to you.
So get to the store with more at Seth Wadley Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on I-35 exit 72 in Pauls Valley, or click SethWadleyDodge.com.
Final segment of Locked In here on a Monday. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios. Hit us up on the text line 405-651-3439. Glenn from Nashville says, I looked up Jayden Petit, and his picture reminds me of Josh Jarbo. Hopefully he's a better dude than that guy. If you remember, you remember. I certainly remember.
What am I missing out on here?
Josh Jarbo was, if he wasn't a 5-star wide receiver, he was a high 4-star wide receiver, a very nationally coveted prospect that signed with Oklahoma, and I don't believe he ever played in a game as a Sooner because when he was a freshman, let's just say he was dismissed from the program for conduct detrimental to the team. I'll put it in politically correct terms.
Is this a Google search away from finding out the actual details?
Yeah, no, it's nothing like tawdry like Trey McGuire or anything. But, yes, conduct detrimental to the team. Let's call it that with Josh Jarbo. It is that time, folks. It is Monday. And as we know, Monday, we have 72 hours worth of news to catch up on and 72 hours worth of nonsense to catch up on. And there is quite a bit of nonsense today. It is now time for 0 days since our last nonsense. Give me the circus music. Okay. Beautiful. This is appropriate. You can fade it down a little bit. I want to start off with this tweet from January 12th, 2025, courtesy of our good friend at Nash Talks Texas. And I quote, I'm not saying OU will go 3-9, but I'm not saying it isn't possible. That may be their floor in the 2025 season. Bryce Underwood? Jackson Arnold revenge game? Come on, it's Texas. Beamer/Kiffin coaching well? Nico year 2? Brent may be fired on the second bye. He went on to tweet in a follow-up, a reply to himself, a self-reply. 7-5 is a more than generous ceiling, basically giving a huge home host factor. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to quadruple the tariffs on podcasting equipment. Microphones and webcams need to be price gouged into another dimension.
I don't disagree with that.
Gunny of Stutzman Army on the text line says, I walk around work whistling that tune. Gunny, the nonsense doesn't stop there. There's much more. Oh, there's more nonsense. We talk quite often on this show about how crazy the state of Louisiana is.
Sure.
And the people in the state of Louisiana are. Specifically, or I should say most specifically, with regard to college football. You thought plane tracking season was bonkers? Welcome to wife tracking season.
I'm sorry, what?
Follow me here. This is a published article from less than an hour ago, courtesy of Matt Moscona, who is really well respected, does a great job. I've been on his show. He's a great dude. Does an amazing job covering all the chaos that occurs in the state of Louisiana. In the world of college football, most specifically LSU football, and also high school football. Now run the circus music back. We got to keep it going. This is pure nonsense. The title of this article from Matt Moscona is, and I kid you not, Kiffin's ex-wife set to tour Baton Rouge. I will quote you from the article.
Oh, Lord.
LSU's pursuit of Lane Kiffin is on. LouisianaSports.net has learned that Layla Kiffin, the coach's ex-wife and mother of his children, will be in Baton Rouge on Monday to tour the city. On Sunday, she reportedly visited Gainesville as Florida pursues the coach as well. The two divorced in 2016 and have since reconciled. So on and so forth, bunch of family details.
Mm-hmm.
The coming weeks could be transformative across the SEC as Kiffin makes his ultimate decision and Florida, LSU, Auburn, and Arkansas make their next hires. So there you go, folks. That's what a coaching search in the state of Louisiana looks like. They're not just plane tracking. They're wife tracking. Ladies and gentlemen of the great state of Oklahoma, I love you all. I would hope you know this. If we ever get to that point, we're going to have a come to Jesus conversation.
You're not down with tracking the whereabouts of a coach's ex-partner or ex-spouse in this case?
I had something else teed up, and I can't even remember what it was now because those two are just so nonsensical. This is the height of nonsense. If you had to power rank them. Wife tracking or Nash Talks Texas?
Well, I'm surprised.
Which takes the number one slot?
I'm surprised that you don't have Nash Talks Texas blocked on Twitter. Like, I am pretty shocked that you don't. I would say Nash Talks Texas is a little bit. That takes the cake for most nonsense. 3-9? Like, they were gonna go 500. That was gonna be their worst. Maybe if things go catastrophically bad, 5-7. They were never gonna go 3-9. The Lane Kiffin story, honestly, especially given that it's Lane Kiffin and what we've come to learn about my favorite coach in college football right now, that to me is just more comical to me. But the Nash Talks Texas thing is just bonkers level of hating.
5-Star Shark says, pole assassin tracking? That would be interesting.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, if Jeff Banks is ever in the hunt for a head coaching job. I'm sure somebody on Twitter.com will do it. U.S. Army Sooner says, Parker, I can honestly say I'm not concerned with the location of your wife, and I assume you have the same lack of concern about my wife's location. And you would be correct, U.S. Army Sooner.
I was wondering where that text was going.
Sooner Stu says, good afternoon, guys. Sooner Stu here. Who's to say Lane doesn't stay at Lane Kiffin's not staying at Ole Miss. He's keeping up appearances. He's not staying at Ole Miss. I would be stunned, based on some of the things that I have continued to hear over the last 5-6 weeks, if Lane Kiffin is the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels in 2026. In fact, I had someone text me this morning, and this individual is very well plugged in within the agent world, and said, and I found this hard to believe. I still do find this hard to believe. This individual told me, Lane Kiffin will not be coaching the playoffs at Ole Miss. Should Ole Miss make the college football playoff field, which is a virtual certainty at this point, he's not going to coach them for the playoff run. I find that very, very hard to believe.
So do I.
But that is what was said.
I know coordinators in the NFL, if they end up coaching in a deep playoff run, have sometimes accepted verbally the job to be an NFL head coach the next year.
Kellen Moore last year being a great example.
Exactly. And it happens every year almost. I mean, it happened with Bill Belichick's assistants all the time. Can you not do that in college? Like, could Lane Kiffin not say, all right, LSU, I'm coming to Baton Rouge next year, but I'm going to coach this team that I've led to a college football playoff appearance? Like, that to me is why, like, we talk about, and yes, there's business decisions to opt out for the draft and whatnot, which nobody should look down upon. But we talk about players opting out because they're going to go to the portal or something like that, and we call them like, hey, they're quitting on their team. Like, would that not be the ultimate epitome of just ditching your dudes right as you're on the verge of playing for a natty?
Yeah. Here's the problem. If Lane Kiffin takes the job at Florida or LSU or wherever, but let's say for all intents and purposes, if he's not coaching at Ole Miss next year, he's coaching Florida and LSU. That seems, or LSU, excuse me. That seems to be a reasonable conclusion to draw. Here's the problem. You're leaving an SEC job for another SEC job. And SEC fan bases are very territorial and borderline psychotic. And so there's no good way to keep the news under wraps if you intend to take the LSU job or intend to take the Florida job, but not for another month and a half until after you coach Ole Miss through the playoff run. If word gets out, and it would, that Lane Kiffin is going to be the next head coach at the University of Florida, or he's going to be the next head coach at Louisiana State, Ole Miss fans will riot. I guarantee you, Ole Miss fans aren't going to want Lane Kiffin coaching their team through the playoff.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, and that makes a lot of sense. Like, it would almost be better for his safety if he got the hell up out of Dodge and just went ahead and moved on. Like, I get that, and maybe that is something that is unique to college football, is the territorial nature of fans. But to me, man, like, there's a better way to go about this. If you want to take the job, fine. But finish out coaching. I guess there's not as many rational people out there in the world as there should be. But that should be the way you do things.
I would like to tap in our good friend Dan in Madison, Mississippi on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line because he covers Ole Miss. He's a photographer and a good one. Got to hang with him last year in Oxford when OU went down there. Dan in Madison, and I know there's some validity to this text, says, I've heard from a very reliable source, Parker, that it's not Lane Kiffin's decision if he decides to go somewhere else. That is the athletic director at Ole Miss's decision. Keith Carter basically said, you will not coach the playoffs if you go. So there you go. The athletic director working on behalf, making a statement. If that is indeed the case, and knowing it's coming from Dan down in Madison, I would assume it is. That's Keith Carter basically speaking on behalf of the Ole Miss fan base, saying, if you want to take another job, we don't want you coaching the playoff.
And if that is the case, I'll say two things. If that is the case, then you are sabotaging your team's chances to win a national championship. If you are the AD making that decision, you are working in the disinterest of your school. And number two, because Ole Miss and Oklahoma are permanent opponents for the next 4 years, I hope Lane Kiffin stays around because I enjoy having that conversation every single time we have to talk about Lane Kiffin.
Dan in Madison says, Parker, I'll take a pizza bet that he's at Ole Miss next year. Done, sir. I look forward to getting pizza with you next time I'm in the great state of Mississippi, one way or another. For today's show here on Locked In, it is a wrap. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. Coming up next, Tyler and Ted break down Oklahoma's climactic victory in Tuscaloosa from every angle imaginable. The Rush is next.